Hmm. What is up, guys? How's it going? Man, just drinking some chocolate milk again. In this huge cup I've got, chocolate milk. Anyways, back to being on stream. All right, so today we are working again with Palm Pilot stuff. This is stream number 4, so I appreciate you guys just checking it out and coming on in and being here with me. There was like 5 people just a moment ago, and pretty much I don't know why people have been watching since the start of this thing, because I feel like I've gotten almost nothing done. And with saying that, I want to let you know that today we'll be starting over from pretty much scratch, using a completely different framework, different language, and everything. Basic and actually in S Basic, the flavor that we were using for the Palm Pilot is garbage. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why it wasn't working for us. One, the major one is that just documentation is missing completely. It's really hard to find certain kinds of information. It was lost to the test of time. The other reason is because a lot of the documentation we were finding is just wrong, and it doesn't work the way it should. I'm also not the best with basic, so there was a few things that were causing me a little bit of slowdowns or whatever. So that being said, we've moved from NS Basic over to Pascal. And if you're not familiar with Pascal, that's okay, because I'm not either. It's more of an older language. I heard somebody say it's like a subset of C and C++. It seems to be little bit uglier than C++, but it seems to be just as functional. I'm going to go ahead and just start real quick by showing you what that code looks like that I have already. I made a hello world, or a demo real quick, with a line that moves around the screen. I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences and stuff in the language and how we're going to complete our program. But this is pretty much what it looks like right now. But before I get to the technical aspects of it, if you don't mind, underneath me is a list of my social media accounts and stuff. If you want to support the channel, I guess, and help me grow a little bit more, and you can check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/crate, and then underneath that is Twitch, twitch.tv/thecrate, and then mixer.com/thecrate. Last, what was it, Tuesday, 2 days ago, we weren't streaming to Mixer because Restream.io, the service that I use to broadcast on multiple platforms, basically died, and it just wasn't working properly. And for some reason, when it started to work again, Mixer was one of the last things that came online, and then I wasn't able to link my account back with it. So it's working now, though. I'm simultaneously casting to all 3 of them. But actually, when I was looking through the stuff on Restream.io, like 15% of my audience is from Mixer, but almost nobody has ever been on Mixer and said hi to me or anything like that. Only one person. So if you're lurking on Mixer, you know what? Just say hey and let me know that you're watching. I'm trying to dedicate more time to the platforms that I get the most amount of audience on and the most amount of engagement on. Right now, it seems like it's YouTube. So just whatever your favorite is, just make sure you subscribe on that platform or follow me there. And it lets me know that I could keep going with what I'm doing here. And I'm trying to stream on Sunday nights at 7:30 Central Time, and Tuesday and Thursdays at 7:30 as well, 7:30 p.m. that is. So, okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk a little bit about this Pascal program. So you can see here I have Circuit Dude. And actually, it's in a .test.pas file. So this is just basically like the main file, the main.c or whatever. And it has an actual loop, that like a main loop. We have this procedure main right here that we're calling. At the very, very bottom, you have this little area of code. That's where the actual code for the program runs, but we run this procedure, basically a function that doesn't return anything, or a method. And it jumps up here to the top. We begin it, and then we go into this repeat loop, this repeat until loop. And this is going to be basically our main loop that we're going to use throughout the program. So unlike NS Basic, like we were using, this has an actual loop where we refresh the screen when we want to, we redraw stuff. And before, it was more along the lines of an event-driven timer kind of thing. So we won't have, it seems, for the time being, fluid, like a set frame rate, but it'll just go as fast as possible, which is okay for now. We'll try to figure out a way to slow that down. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire this up. Unfortunately, all my files kind of got mixed around, but there's a bunch of programs that are on the internet that are written in Pascal for the Palm Pilot, and luckily I was able to grab some source code and just kind of go through it a little bit. And I have kind of a simple program. Let me show you what that looks like, and then I'll kind of explain the code. So I'll fire up the Palm Pilot emulator, and right now we just have this test.prc, which comes from this test.pas file once it's compiled. And we have this test res, which is a resource file, and then a resource package file, and then it compiles to like a binary file. We'll get into that as well. So there's multiple steps to making this, but right now let's move this file over and install it. And yep, there we go. We see this HS Pascal app. So I'm going to click on that, and behold this line that moves. So that's what this program does right now. Nothing like what we had before. Looking in the code, we have this procedure main, and inside of it we have this repeat loop, and basically this is where the magic happens. Let me get rid of this real quick. So basically we have an event that that is inspected whenever it starts the loop, and if the event is not a system handle event, which I'm not quite sure what that is, then it will go through this procedure and basically create a rectangle around the entire screen. So filling the screen and erasing it. So when erase rectangle, so I'm pretty sure what that does is it gets rid of information from the frame buffer, the virtual frame buffer. And then we have here a few calculations. At the beginning of this procedure, we create the variables that we're using inside of it. I guess it's scoped at the top, and there's, oh my gosh, my camera always does this at the beginning of the stream. Oh, what the heck? That's odd. Let me eject this memory card real quick. I don't quite need it. Oh. And so I'm actually using a DSLR for my my camera instead of a webcam. They kind of just have a little bit more quality, and unfortunately they're not really made to be used as a webcam, so there's some workarounds you have to do to be able to get it to work as a webcam, like for live streaming and stuff. And it's a little fidgety. It involves a rubber band, but I think it should be good now. Okay. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Mr. Game Maker 8, howdy. So, anyways, these variables are scoped. These are just some coordinate variables that I hold. I set them to 0s and 100, and then as you go through this loop, I change the coordinates a little bit, and then I draw a line at those coordinates. If you're returning from before, we saw some WinDraw functions listed in NS Basics documentation for accessing the Palm Pilot's API, and so this is part of it. We didn't have a great way to directly call those functions, but here in Pascal, you just call those functions. It has access to all of them, so it makes it quite easy to be able to do. And yeah, so that's how the line moves in this program. So what we could do is we could try to start out by drawing a bitmap. which is what I kind of erased a moment ago, this line right here. It unfortunately doesn't work, and that's okay because it also wasn't working before. So let me go through the procedure of how to compile a program and get it running for Pascal. So I actually start something called HS Pascal or High Speed Pascal. This program lets you edit stuff. It's like a text editor, but it's actually like Notepad. It's more like Notepad in that you can only do Control Z one time. There's another error where I push Control F to type in something and hit enter. Sometimes if I copy and paste and I want to search for like the UI resources, for instance, and I go up here, Control F and then Control V to paste it in, it will paste down here and then remove my access to the find box. So if I have something selected, it'll actually delete it, which I almost did again, but it's kind of annoying. Unfortunately, I can't seem to figure out how to compile this with the command line or something like that. So up here in this little menu bar, we have a button for compile. So I'll click on that, and it'll tell me if there's any problems down here at the bottom. And this one doesn't have any problems, so it's going to go ahead and run. Whenever it runs, it automatically creates this PRC file, and it grabs the resources that are listed here in this text in this testres.ro file. And what's inside that file is, like I said earlier, a binary representation of a lot of resources that I include, which could be stuff like strings, string literals or constants, as well as bitmaps and such. So to create one of these, which is where if I were to draw a bitmap function, I would need to supply it with a bitmap. It would live inside of this RO file. And so to put it in there, what I actually need to do is create the bitmaps here, these .bmp files, reference them inside of this testres.pas file, like this, and then inside of this RCP file, also do that. So the RCP file is actually what's being transformed into this RO file using this batch file that I made. The batch file basically just calls this thing called PILRC. You don't really have to know anything about that. It's kind of interesting to look into if you want to, but that actually converts this RCP file and all the associated files with it into the RO file. So I have here the application name, which is supposed to be Circuit Dude, as well as the icons. So I have small icon, large icon. But for some reason, if I look at this .ro file, it compiles down to 4 KB, which is considerably smaller than these bitmaps. I don't think there's any compression used, so I'm not quite sure what the issue is, what the exact problem is, because as we've seen with the PRC, it doesn't properly show the Circuit Dude icon that I created, this one right here, or this one. It still shows this HS Pascal one. So I think for some reason there might be some resource issues, but that's totally okay because we don't quite care about that at the moment. There's a lot more stuff that we need to take care of. But fortunately for us, Pascal lets us do all sorts of cool stuff that we weren't able to do in NS Basic. We have a lot of options to get around this problem. I could try to spearhead through and just try to figure out what the cause of that is, or I could do some other stuff to try to create the levels as constant data that lives inside of this program, like you would with like a C++ program. So actually looking through, actually the notes are on my phone. I found some interesting code bits for for Pascal. It was like 4 a.m. last night, I think, and I was just going through looking for it. So unfortunately, we can't really use VS Code because we have to use this HS Pascal compiler, and every time I want to compile, I'm going to have to close out and reopen it so that it can load the file again, and that is just a really ugly thing. So if you are currently using Twitch or YouTube with dark mode on, I'm sorry about your eyeballs, because this is just going to be white the entire time. Okay, so what I want to do is create eventually some sort of bitmap data, and I want to just take the raw data from the C++ version of Circuit Dude, and copy it over into this program. And I should be able to do that, but to be able to do that, it's going to be set up in an array. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to see what happens if I try to create some arrays. I'll define them right here, and I'll call it tester array, and make it a type array. Oh, my spelling is very off today. And I think this is going to be the format of byte of car. Let's do car first, because I know for a fact this will compile. So A, B, C, D. Okay, and luckily this language is also what's it called? Case insensitive too. So it doesn't matter if we know the exact function names for the Palm Pilot API. We can just kind of type them in and hope that they are the same words. Okay. So we got a compile error right off the bat. So I'm not sure what version of Pascal this is using, but let's see. Pascal array of car. Let's see what this looks like. By the way, drop a note in the chat if you're familiar with Pascal, because it's a language that I really don't have a lot of exposure to. I don't really know a lot of people who use it. So if you do use it, let me know. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. So it looks like for these arrays, we have to actually create them and then set them. But one thing I didn't check was that I put this into into var. And I think it might be different if I do const, which is what I actually will want. Nope. Still. Wait. Let's see. Pascal const array. Let's see what happens. Const array of const. This guy kind of writes it this way. I think what we could do is this A, B, C, D. I mean, of course, this is not what we want in the long run. But why is that off? Okay, A car equals A. We'll just do this. Oh my gosh. I hate when languages or when IDEs do this. B car equals to B and C car equals to C. Let's see if this compiles. So it's looking like we do this instead for the const. Okay. Huh. Constant expected. A constant expected. Interesting. What if we do this? Okay. For an initialized variable, replace const with var in your declaration. It will get the value upon entering the scope. Oh, okay, what the heck? See, I would actually expect it to look something like this. But I don't think this would work because some of the code I've seen with Pascal uses that. Yeah. Oh, wait, what? Constant expect. Constants have to be okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay. I do know where some constants are at the top. Let's try that. Thank you very much, Raj. Okay. So these are the globals up here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's what the compiler was complaining about. Let's try a no array text array, test array, and then it'll be array 1 3 of car equals to A B C. Cool. Let's compile that. Equal sign expected again. Let's see if this works. Same issue. Uh-oh, don't want to see flying spaghetti monster. So this array. Man, I suck. The first thing we're trying to do, I can't even do. Yeah, I was playing around with this code a little bit the other day, and there were a few things I didn't know how to do, and I just kind of passed on them. Figured if I just kind of saw it on Google or something, I'd be able to find it. A fixed array of fixed arrays can be declared at compile time. Perfect. Okay, so I think I've seen this format used elsewhere, but I think what I would need to do is basically define a type, a data type almost, and call this I don't even know what to call this, test array type, and then this is when I define what the type of it is, and then perhaps down here you can see it uses that type. So let's see if this works. Nope. Well, okay. Actually, this guy is using a different one. I'm not sure what HS Pascal is based off of. So let's try using these brackets instead, kind of like a Python or JavaScript style. Let's see what happens. Constant expected. Okay. Unfortunately, I have seemingly less work, less to go off of, less documentation. However, I have some source code. So this game right here is called NicoCat. It's a game kind of like a Tamagotchi. And basically, I'm gonna try to look at the code a little bit and see what makes it work. And maybe they use an array. Let's see what they use. Raj says that type can be used for enums or records, which are structs. Appreciate that. Yeah, then that definitely doesn't help us here then. That would be wrong for me to use. So let's see. Array. Let's see if they use any array. Okay, so she has, or whoever wrote this game has an array here of integers, but I think this is, like Raj says, it's a not a constant of any kind. But you know what? The Palm Pilot has so much RAM that it probably will be okay with just storing like all the game into variables. Look at this, 8 megabytes of RAM. That's insane. The Arty Boy has, I think, 2 kilobytes of RAM. So it wouldn't be able to hold something like that anywhere else except for ROM space. So I might be overthinking it. We might just make all the arrays variables in volatile memory and then pretend like we did it correctly. You know, anything to make the game work. So let's go ahead and do that instead, since I don't see any arrays here. I would expect to try to put the arrays into the resource file, but the resource file is not exactly working either. And I'll probably figure that out on my own without making you guys sit there and watch me struggle for a few hours. Man, I'm so freaking thirsty. I have another drink though. the Gatorade. Okay. Let's try doing the array inside of var instead. Dude, 8 megabytes of RAM is insane. That is way more than I'm used to. Way more. I feel like people nowadays, they know you have gigabytes worth of RAM, so they just literally put everything they can there. The way I program, usually it's like use the same few variables, global variables throughout the entire program, and never get rid of them. And then whenever I'm not using them, I use the variables for something completely different in a different part of the game. Okay, so let's get rid of the const array. Okay, and set it here, test array. Array 1, 3 of car. Let's get rid of that. And we'll assign it to this. See if this works. And this, if this doesn't work, that'll just make me cry, I think. Okay. So unfortunately, I think I have to declare each individual value of this array using this. Where is it at? Using this format. And I'm really, really hoping that, because I tried to basically set it up like this. I don't think that this is a version that's new enough to be able to understand that format where I just kind of list everything out. I'll probably have to individually define everything, which this kind of looks like a set of instructions that gets stored somewhere, but I wonder if this compiles down to like a straight up like array to save space. But then again, this has so much memory, I don't really have to worry about that. Let's look for initialization. Nope. I think that might be somewhere in here though. Okay. It might be the name of a procedure. Initialization. Pascal. This might be a special procedure. It's also a reserved word within object Pascal. It starts an optional initialization part of a unit and is terminated with end or optional finalization part. Okay, so I think this is where we initialize the original values. Yeah. I think I could put it anywhere I want. So I'm going to try to put it here under var, since that's what I'm going to primarily use it for. Initialization and then end. And this, I think this, well, what the heck? I don't want that many spaces. Also, Pascal uses spaces instead of tabs, so that hurts me. Austin Prey? Ape Prey is watching me? Oh my gosh, I feel like so starstruck. Thank you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Haven't heard from you in forever, man. What we're working on today is converting a game from the Arduboy to, let's see, the ArduBoy, which is an Arduino-based game console. It has 32 kilobytes of memory. To the Palm Pilot, specifically the M500. This one has, I think, 8 megabytes of RAM. This one has 2 kilobytes of RAM, so it should be able to show you the difference between the both. But we started with NS Basic, which was like a flavor of Basic that was really ugly and stupid. Gave up on that because documentation is either gone, missing, vague, or wrong. And now we're using Pascal. So we're diving into that. I've never used Pascal before, so I'm kind of learning the ropes and looking at other people's code in Stack Overflow. Raj says, by the way, test array 1 to 3 of car works in Turbo Pascal perfectly. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's a newer version of Pascal. And this is using some older version, and we're locked to those features. Unfortunately, the documentation I think may have been lost for this program, so I really can't figure out the exact version of Pascal that we're on unless I try to ask around or spend more time researching it, which I'll probably do on my own. I'm not going to waste your time with that. Let's try this initialization keyword and see if we can get some values stored. All right, so I think what we want to do is say test array is going to be a, oh my gosh. Okay, let's see if this runs. And it looks like it might not. So I didn't see any other Palm Pilot games using this initialization keyword. Let's see if NicoCat uses it. They did have an initialize procedure that they defined specifically themselves. So I wonder if they're used to Pascal and this version doesn't support it, so they just went ahead and rewrote to create their own function. Oh, Turbo Pascal is 7.0 mid-90s. Okay. Well, I think what I saw from my research on this, the brief research I did, this is based off of a program from like 1999 and then ported in like 2001, I think, and worked on until 2003. So it might be a branch off of some mid-90s version, but I mean, to have a function like that missing, a feature like that missing is, in my opinion, pretty unacceptable, but it could be a limitation to the hardware. Okay, so I think I'm going to try to just go ahead, like I said earlier, and do everything in RAM. And I'll copy over the technique that the people who did NicoCat, actually let me find their name so I can credit them properly. Laurent Duveau. Yeah, okay, so I'll use their technique and just have an initialized procedure or function, I guess it's called here, and try to start everything that way. And let's see, I'm actually really interested because I was looking up how to do return values in Pascal, and it actually is really interesting. I've never seen one before, a function, just methods, and for there to be a Boolean return from initialize inside of the function, this begin area, this block right here, the return value is actually the same name as the function itself, which is super cool. I like that feature. So they set initialize to true here, and then I guess they set it to false down here, and maybe that's automatically passed back for some, some reason. But I don't think I need a return value if I write my own function for it. Okay, so procedure initialize. Yeah. And if I don't need any parameters, I think I can just put a semicolon right there. And oh my gosh, I forgot this is missing a lot of features that I'm used to in VS Code. So just bear with me while I retype this array stuff. There's a lot of people who are really, really like passionate about Palm Pilots. I don't know what it is. It has a certain kind of charm to it. So if you had one back in the day, there's like this nostalgic charm that a lot of people are attached to. It's kind of like it really is kind of like a more simple version of like using an iPhone, which sounds absurd. And it's nothing like using an iPhone, but it's kind of like a retro version of it. And so a lot of people who didn't have one back then use it now, and they're like, oh, this is kind of where these features came from. I got one when I was a kid, and I don't know, I have like this weird attachment to it. I always wanted to, like, I dreamed of making a game for it. It's the first thing I tried to program for with BASIC, and trying to go back to it nowadays to finish a game and accomplish that goal or dream or whatever. It's kind of fun, kind of challenging, kind of annoying, but all right. So it looks like the initialize. Oh, you know what? I didn't even call the procedure. So down here where I call main, I'll just put this initialize feature as well. Error in statement. I can't do that. Oh, I think I need to put semicolons to work. There we go. So I've compiled it. Unfortunately, it's not going to make anything cool happen just because it's setting random values, but we can go ahead and test those values. I'll switch it from car to an integer or something, and I'll put the integer values to use. So 1, 50, 100, and then 160. And I'll use it in the main loop that we have down here for drawing the line. We'll loop through it and then basically draw the line at different points. And I'll use, kind of like yesterday, I'll use C as the counter variable. So C equals to C plus 1 if the C is greater than 4. Like BASIC, it actually will start the arrays at 1. But I'm actually curious if you can define a custom like starting index, because up here you can see the array initialization is 1 to 4. So I wonder if I could put 0 to 4. We'll play around with that in a bit, but for now, I'm just wanting to make sure that the arrays are working in memory the way they should. Oops. And C is greater than C becomes 1. Down here. Back there, I mean. Okay, cool. And instead of drawing the line at X for one of the points, we'll draw it at test array is what we call it, test array at C. And for the second value, Y, let's go ahead and just do that too. So it'll look kind of like it's moving diagonally on the screen, and we'll always see it without it like going somewhere else. Okay. Alrighty. So let's move the PRC over and then give it a run. Okay, I have no idea if that's what it's supposed to look like. I didn't look at the numbers, the values of XE and YE. So I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like. But I want to guess that that works because it's moving in that diagonal motion. So we'll exit out of the program real quick. And the reason why we were looking at arrays to begin with is because we want to do some sort of, we want them to hold the, give away. We want them to hold the level data that we're going to use as well as the bitmap data. So let's go and look up, I think we saw earlier an array of arrays. Yeah, so down here these people did some sort of pair, value pair, like Raj said. But we don't want a pair. We would want the data from the C++ version, which is just a bunch of bytes. Austin, so the reason we're using Pascal is because, I don't know, like there's a few different options for Palm Pilot. You can do C++, you could do Pascal, you can do NS Basic. I figured that it took me the least amount of time to get Pascal up and running, so I thought I might as well try that out, and I've never used it for any projects before. So I guess just a learning experience. If I got C++ working, there's some other dependencies I'd have to get working too, and I had some problems in the past getting Code Warrior to work. So I didn't want to go through the pain of trying to get that to work and then not being able to get something ready for the stream. So if I go down here to my project folder, I can go to the Arduboy Circuit Dude. Let's take a look at the code in VS Code. Okay. So the level code for this is buried in this data. And here we go. As characters. I wonder if there's a markup that we can use for some sort of like hex representation or decimal representation of characters. if we can do it right, we can just copy and paste. If there's a hex version, we can use some of the JavaScript we wrote the other day to convert the decimal to hexadecimal. So it looks like this guy's saying you can start a hexadecimal with a $sign. Okay, so hexadecimal seems pretty good. We could just do Control D and replace a lot of the 0 X's. And then we're going to look at the characters as well. Oh, you know what? Actually, what we were going to do was look up bytes. That's what it was going to be, because we were... Okay, I remember. Right now, for the Ardu Boy, I just used unsigned cars because of the type of compiler it uses. But unsigned car is just the same thing as a byte, so... Let's take a look at bytes. Excellent, excellent. Look at this. We can just do this. Foo equals to 65. Perfect. Okay, let's try copying over one of the levels with Circuit Dude. And remember, these levels are compressed too. So we're gonna have to do some stuff to uncompress them in Pascal. And if we can uncompress them, put them into the right location, display them on the screen some way, then we can go through and draw bitmaps and carry over the bitmap data. Oh, you know what? This is gonna hurt. Ugh. This is so goofy. That's what we call a pro gamer move right there. Okay. Am I forgetting anything? Nope. Okay, this is gonna look so ugly. But, you know, I think instead of filling out, oh my gosh, I can't even do tabs and all this mess. Okay. So what I think I could do is take this procedure and put it over here in this test res.pass. I think I'm including it correctly. So if I'm not, I'll get an error, but otherwise it should know where this initialize function is. So let's try to run that. And it doesn't know. Okay, so let's figure out where we can reference that, because this is a bunch of ugly data and I'd rather it not be in the way of the beautiful gameplay code. So Pascal include file reference function. gosh. Spilled my Gatorade a little bit. That was not a pro gamer move. Okay. That looks like more for actual files, I/O, that kind of stuff. And you know what? I'm actually curious. I'm actually very curious because we tried with constants and that didn't work. I wonder if we could do the parentheses with 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 variables. I wonder if that could work. Yeah, let's try that actually. Instead of this, we'll do test array equals 2. We'll just toss this in. See what happens. Line too long. Whew. Oh boy. I think back in 2001 when this was popular, I think computers didn't know how to count above 255. That's what I was told. So maybe that line is too long. Oh, wait a minute. Can I write this? Okay, so it doesn't like that. But we can try up here as well. Because if we can just copy over the data that way, that would be a lot nicer. Nope, can't. So I guess we are stuck with this, which means we'll have to, of course, be stuck with referencing there's something called units in Pascal. I don't quite understand them, but I think basically it's like a module, and anything that has the same name for the module will be compiled together. So maybe this test res isn't being defined properly because of that. Try to compile that one more time. Error and integer constant. An instant integer constant. Program? Huh. Oh, wait. Duh. Okay. I don't want to compile this file. I want to compile test. That. Except for I'm going to use initialize. Unit is a compiled library. Each unit needs an individual name, and then you just import it into your main. Hey Raj, how do you import it into your main? If you know, let me know. Just put it up in the chat. Constant array of bytes. Yeah, I would like to define it as a constant array of bytes. So if I can find an example of it, I definitely would. Just try that as okay. He has an example. Test array 0 size. Oh, I see what you say. I see what you're saying. Okay. I see. So you think that the data type was an issue. Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Oh, I hate the control F. As I said at the very beginning of the stream, if I try to control F to find something, it will jump out and then modify what I've got highlighted. So that's very annoying. Let's remove the test values down here. Yeah, you see I'm getting a compile error whenever I try to do something like that. Array size byte equals. Yeah, I don't know why I can't get this to work specifically. I would like to be able to just have that. Otherwise, having to do this in multiple dimensions, I mean, well, there's literally for each value a new line, and you can see how many values I have for the 75 levels or whatever there are in Circuit Dude. You need to pop it under constant. I mean, I think we did try with constant, but I can try again. Also, I don't know why this test res isn't working. I think that's why the bitmap issue isn't working, but like I said, that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that later on. Yeah. Oh. Forgot. Yeah, do you see the error that I'm getting, Raj? It's saying that there's an equal sign expected right here for test array. Oh, okay. Assignment equals? Oh, wait, you're saying like if I do this, that'll expand the array out? I don't know if that'll work. That's like a function. Yeah. It's saying just equals are expected. Let's try that. I think maybe that. Maybe. Oh. Maybe that might be high speed specific. Yeah, maybe that's high speed specific. I think there's some sort of man. Oh, wait. Raj, you said you have... I have a heap of examples here for DOS. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would figure that something like this would exist within the language. I mean, you see how ugly this is. I think this would work if I copy pasted it over. I'm just being very stubborn and I don't want to do that. Oh, the link that you posted is private? Well, let's see. Let's see if I can find some high-speed Pascal um, documentations. Oh. Yeah, and like I said earlier, it's really I can't find any functions, or I mean, any examples that include arrays. There was another game that I saw besides NicoCat called Matches. I'll just kind of drag this Pascal file over and open it and see if they happen to use arrays at all. I'm sure it's like a special keyword or something. That's interesting. They have the a value, a number right here. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a fixed size of the array, but that doesn't make sense because doesn't the array already like go from 1 to 23? Isn't that what this is doing? So it's like setting the size of the array, but then setting a second. Oh. I see. I'm so okay. It's an array of strings, and the string has string size 7. Okay. Can't believe it. Okay. Duh. For sure. Huh. Oh, look at this. Actually, now that I'm looking at this again, I think I wonder if I can make a struct that just has like a bunch of data points, a bunch of um, data slots in there, and then fill it up. Because I think that this is a struct right here, this menu res, and you use the parentheses to kind of encapsulate the data, similar to NS Basic and how we use that for arrays. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so matches wasn't super helpful. Let's see if we can get back to some more documents real quick for it. Atari? Whoa. Somebody wrote an Atari game in HS Pascal? That's not what we want. Oh, here we go. I did find this the other day, but I couldn't find it again. You know what I could also do? I could possibly convert the byte arrays to like ASCII characters and plug that into the game as strings, and just say it's a string, and then convert the character to a byte or something like that. So we have that backup option. I guess it would be probably a little bit easier to take a look at because one level would be on one line. I guess you can do some Atari stuff with high-speed Pascal. Maybe that's why HS Pascal has some features missing. It's because it's designed for like smaller systems. I've been to this website before. I don't think it's particularly helpful. There was one website that I found. Let's see, Nico Cat Palm Pilot, maybe? It was the one where you get the... No, not that one. It started with an A. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think it was Alt Web. Yeah. So if I search here for HS Pascal, I think there's another game or two that uses it, and we can look at the source code. Maybe they use an array somewhere. Oh, and you know what? That reminds me. Okay, I totally slipped my mind. Oh, it's already out. Look at this code that this guy has. There's a point where he literally takes the... He also does the instead of the initialization keyword, he has his own procedure. But he basically does this. He just stores the data as a string, and then he iterates through it to draw pictures. And if you kind of zoom out enough, you can kind of make out what these pictures are supposed to be. I move it a little bit, you can see the face and then the Palm Pilot. I mean, he even includes a nice little note up here that says it's very slow, which isn't what we don't want it to be slow. We want it to be very quick. We want it to use, you know, bytes so that we can iterate through this map real quick. But, you know, now that I think about it, as long as we can get it on one line, I'm thinking that if we do one line as character strings, it will be okay. Character arrays. We could probably just convert the level data, and then whenever you load the level to play, and it has to go through and create the current map. If you were watching the other streams, with NS Basic, we called the map array current map. So whenever we copy over the level data from the levels array into current map, we could then expand it there and use bytes or characters or whatever we want. We just read from it and we keep it and store it as a string. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that method. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. I want to get something accomplished today, you know. So let's try to this. Let's forget about this for right now. Forget about test res. I'll figure that out on my own time. Not super duper important. And we'll put test array up here, and let's call it, instead of test array, we'll just call it levels, because that's what we want to put in there. And we don't care what the initialized variable values are. We just care about 1 so we can test it. I think there's 70 characters in each level, and then every 5 characters is actually compressed from 8 tiles. So there's 8 tiles and 5 characters. So when we go through and use we'll create a function for expanding the map. And I don't know what we'll do here, but it'll expand the map into some sort of two-dimensional array, and we'll call it current map. And current map will be an array of 1 to 14, I think we said the other day, and 1 to 8 of byte. Yep. Okay, so for the first level, we will go ahead and convert this whole, we'll go ahead and convert this over to characters. So using Chrome real quick, we'll go ahead and just write some simple JavaScript. So if you're not familiar with JavaScript, what I'll be doing is I'll loop through this level data, and I'm going to take the decimal value and then convert that to a character, and then append it to this output, and console log the output, and then copy and paste the string in. And then, I mean, later on we could do this with all the levels in a single run, and then copy it over. If it works for one, it'll work for all of them. So let's actually take a look. I want to double check ASCII character from decimal JavaScript. Convert character. I don't want to convert it to character code. I want to do it the other way around. Here we go. String from character code. Excellent. Wow, that's what it looks like. But you see, it kind of has these boxes in there. Thanks, Raj. Man, I appreciate you stopping by and throwing some information out for us. I'm gonna have all the videos available on YouTube. So if you subscribe to me on YouTube, they'll be available later on. There might be a huge introduction, like a 2-hour intro or something. You can skip ahead. I've been trying to cut them off, but maybe I forgot 1 or 2 of them. But appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna try to copy this data. I know that with some programs, if you try to copy a character that's like an undefined character for some encoding types or maybe fonts or something, it'll get converted over to something random. But maybe Chrome is a little bit smarter than other programs. Okay, it looks like it has different data even though they're displayed with the same character. Okay, so hopefully this makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. I think that might work. Let's put it into HS Pascal and see if it complains. And it has question marks, so unfortunately it looks like it's going to convert all the characters to question marks that it doesn't understand, which I was afraid of. But let's just run this, see if it compiles. Okay, it does. And let's look at the expand map function in C++. What this will do is it'll take the character string that we just did and convert it to this 2D array that we can navigate through. So we don't need to worry about is custom. Anything that has to do with is custom, we'll just throw out, because there will be custom levels in this game that you can make. And if it's custom, then we want to look somewhere else than ROM memory. But we'll assume that it's all valid. We don't really care if it's empty or not. And if it's custom, we don't care, so we'll get out of this. And let's see. I think that might be it. That might be all we need. Let's kind of clean this up a little bit to match the naming convention of Pascal. Oh, but I don't know about this binary right here. This, it might complain about that, but we'll see what happens. So we have the levels here stored in an array. We won't worry about filling the array up with other levels, but in expand map, we'll go ahead and kind of get this converted over. We have a few variables. We have C, for instance, which is an integer. And then whenever C starts, or this procedure starts, C is going to be initialized to 0. I don't know how we're going to do this character buffer. I think we could just do byte buffer. So it's okay, buffer, and it's going to be array 1 through 5, and of byte. So we don't need that anymore. And let's look up for loops, because there's a few different kinds of loops in Pascal, but I'm not super familiar with them. So just take a look at some of them. For variable name equals to, okay. Let's do this. For x equals to 0, okay, to 70. And then I think we could do begin and then end. I think this is the correct way to do it. It doesn't look like there's a for. Doesn't look like there's a way to iterate through the values of x, so we might have to put that outside. Oof, or maybe it's handled automatically, which is not what we want, because we want to skip. We want to iterate through. This for loop uses x plus equals to 5. So let's try to get that working. Maybe we have to use a while loop. Man, maybe we have to use a while loop for this. I would hate to do that. Do 5. Okay, so I guess we might not be able to do a for loop in Pascal. I guess we have to do while. which means we also have to initialize the variable up here instead. So while x is less than 72, and then x equals to x plus 5. So that will go through, that'll be our loop. C will also increase here as well. C becomes C plus 1. I don't know if Pascal supports C++ to iterate, to increment, I mean to say, the values. Okay. So on the Arduboy, we have something for program read byte, a function that will read ROM space memory. But we don't really have that here, so we'll get rid of that. And because this is a string, I don't know if you could grab the values within a string the way you could oh, I see, this is character. The buffer is actually okay. Yeah, I don't think we can access a character the same way we could in C++, like grab the value and treat it like an array of characters. So let's look up substrings in Pascal. Or maybe it might be called character at. Position returns the index of substring if s is okay. Not necessarily want, but that seems like a cool website. Iterate through a string value derived directly from an array. Sure. Video names. Oh, it's a string list, I see. Video file name. String list. Video file name. Index. So let's see what this says. String. Let's see what that looks like. I don't know. I think we're heading in the wrong direction for this. Pascal character in string. Iterate through string. Loop based on string. Pointers behave like different in loop. Iterating. Okay, this might help. more or less, yes. At least you can use S index with the sides white string, input string. Let's just try one more thing. Pascal string index. Okay, look at this. Yeah. So you could just. All right, that's all I wanted confirmation of. I went on a wild goose chase looking for that, and I can actually just say buffer 0 equals to levels 1. Oh, L. 1 and L look so freaking similar. Oh my gosh. L. Yeah. Okay. So this will work right here. This will work. For sure, for sure. Let's see. Pascal convert. Now we need to convert the character from within that string into a byte to put into this buffer array. Byte A. The trans typing of variable A from type char is byte A. Okay, so from what that person's saying, it looks like you can do this as well. It might be like this actually. Let's just try to paste this into HS Pascal without the rest of the current map code. I have not tested this code in a while, and so I would like to test to see if it works. Of course, how could I forget the colon? Okay. Unknown identifier. Oh yeah, expand map needs to take an integer parameter. Let's do level. I've kind of accidentally got into the habit of just naming every variable and everything ever in capital letters. That's not good programming, but I can fix that later on. Oops. Oh, okay, perfect. It looks like everything is compiling or going through the check. Okay, so compiled. There's no way to test this, of course, how it currently is. But I do want to make sure that the data is doing something. So let's hurry up and rush through putting stuff into current map. And I wonder if you can actually do bit shifting in Pascal. And it looks like you can. Looks like you can. So C equals to A, shift to the right. And it looks like you can just straight up do it with integers too, which is nice, but we're using bytes here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this. Buffer. And then I'm pretty sure this will hexadecimal. We need to replace this with a $sign, I believe. And then there's this binary format. I don't know why I did this in C++ that way, but let's convert this over to hexadecimal as well. Basically what this is doing is it's taking, like I said, those 5 characters and expanding them out to 8 bytes. It's kind of like the method of using like a half byte. So I'll use a new window. So one F. This is so stupid. Okay, 1F. That might work. That might work. I do need to initialize or define. I need to stop conflating those two terms. I do need to define current map as a 2D. Oh no, I already did that up here. Oh man, I'm way too fast for myself. Okay, I think there probably will be an issue or two here. Okay, of course, I knew I was forgetting something. Syntax error. Let's see, I think I have to use a keyword for and. Bitwise and is just the word and. That's okay, you know, very interesting. In GameMaker, just the word and is a valid replacement for the ampersand. And I really like that. I wish more languages can do that. Or if you can overload an operator or define your own operator, just define one as and or. It's pretty cool. But the C one go the other way around and say that it's the bitwise and. Interesting. Let's try to compile this and see what happens. And it compiled. Okay, so if we're expanding a map, if this code is valid as we assume it is, and the levels has at least seemingly the data it should have, I'm pretty sure it doesn't because of these question marks are wrong. We can call expand map somewhere in here. Let's do it in initialize actually. Expand map, and we'll call it at level 1. So it'll take this data with levels 1 and put it into current map. And then what we should do is iterate through current map for in some way or another. And instead of drawing this line, did I not do a tab? Weird. Okay, so current map x, y. Get rid of these. So we'll iterate through x and y in a loop. And remember up here we did a for loop for I, wait. For x 0 to 14 do begin and end. For some reason, it's not letting me use tab a lot of times. That is super annoying. And then the tabs sometimes don't work the way they should. I feel like it's trying to take over and be smart about the way it's doing tabs, but it's just not. And it's doing tabs, I mean spaces instead of tabs, and I hate that so much. Okay, so we're iterating through right now this map. We got to do it twice. Once for the x and one for the y. To y 0 to 8. Okay. And we will say, well, you know what? I didn't even realize this. Current map has everything stored. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I lied. Okay, so we'll say if current map at x and y is equal to 7, I believe. It's either 7 or 14. That's the blank spot. So we'll say if it's not equal to 7, then we'll draw something. And what we're going to draw is a single dot. And to look at how to do that, I saw that was somewhere. When draw dot. Dot, maybe? Draw one dot. Draw line? Huh. Ooh, I can see why that would take a long time to draw. But this is just purely an example. And we can do this as well. We'll say x at y, x y to x y. But let's add some padding just in case. So it's not directly in the corner of the screen. And if this compiles and runs, this should draw a This should draw a nice level for us. Unknown identifier. Oh, okay. Or I should draw the outline of a level, the silhouette of a level. Okay. Let's try it. Oh, not that. All right, so I am messing up somewhere. So we got to go through the process of figuring out exactly what is being written to. Okay, just double checking to see how to do. Comments. All right. Compile that. Wait, did it compile that fast? That was okay. That's pretty quick. Try to run this again. Still does it. Okay. Where else could we possibly be writing to the wrong place in memory? Oh, of course. It could simply be writing outside of the bounds of the memory somewhere in the wrong place. That could definitely be part of it. Make sure I compile. Throwing it in one more time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm writing somewhere outside of the bounds of an array, and it's writing somewhere else, and that it's not supposed to be. So I'm just going to go and add an extra value right here. Oh, of course, because look at this. I have arrays starting at 1. Let's see if you can actually get around this issue. And see what the starting index is. To start the array from 0 index, it would be this. Okay, so it's in Pascal, an array subscript could be any scalar type. Very interesting. That's very progressive for its time. But I don't know why all the code example code I've looked at uses 0. I mean uses 1. I'll go ahead and just try 0. Go back to 14 and 9. I mean and 8. Just in case. and throw that in and run it. Hey, and it worked. Perfect. Now we can start uncommenting out stuff and see what breaks. I hate starting at index of 1. That's one thing about NS Basic that was kind of annoying. But I hope that was what solved the issue. Comment on some more stuff. Okay. Definitely didn't draw what we wanted. Now we were having some issues before the stream, or I say we for almost everything. I was having some issues before the stream, and I think the like the other day we talked about how there's a system API call where you set the color whenever you're going to draw stuff before you start drawing, so the system knows what color space you're in. So I think this matches game actually uses some sort of color, but that doesn't quite make sense because when I was drawing a line earlier, I was still being able to see it. Let's go ahead and just replace this with true. We should see a solid block. We should see a solid block if we run this. We do. Wow. Okay. So possibly the issue is checking to see if current map is not equal to 7. Maybe things didn't get compiled as I thought they would be. Okay, definitely compiled. Oh, okay. So if it's not equal to 7, this is what it's going to look like. What is the... I mean, it kind of looks like a level. This is what should be drawn. This is what should be drawn. The very first level of Circuit Dude, pretty barren. It looks like this, and there's an outline, and then there's 8 pieces inside of that box. So we should see black dots for each one. But we could just be putting them in the wrong spot. So we might be iterating through this looping through this incorrectly. For instance, we could be doing Y first when we're drawing, and doing X first when we're expanding the map, something like that. Draw map. So we start with Y when we're drawing the map. So let's just try doing that instead. I keep forgetting you can't be running the program when you try to transfer it over. Hmm. In the circuit dude for Hardy Boy, I actually have YX. Forget why I do that. Height by width. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? And then when I do draw map, I iterate, I go Y first, then X. I mean, heck, wait a minute. That might X, Y. That might explain why I am getting an issue. It should be YX, and that's how the current map here is iterating through. The Y is only 0 to 7 because the map height is 8 tiles. Cool, cool. Let's run through it. Ha! That looks a lot better, right? Hmm. One, two, three, 4 dots. 2, 3, 4. Huh. That's interesting. It looks like it works for the first top of the level. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Instead of line, let's just do when is it fill rect? Hmm. I want to do a fill rect. API fill rect. No, what was it? When draw line. When draw line. I think we searched for this the other day, and draw rectangle. Yeah. Hmm. I think this actually takes gosh, dang. Hmm. This should make the map a little bit bigger for us to see, and possibly eliminate some artifacts from drawing lines or make them more apparent. That's another thing I think that could happen. I mean, with the World of Palm Pilot stuff, I feel like there's a whole bunch of random stuff that could happen, especially when using a new language I've never used before. I mean, we saw that with the NS Basic stuff so much. Okay, I'll compile this twice too, because I don't necessarily trust it telling me that it's compiled properly. Okay, so it did draw it bigger for us to be able to look at. So something happens whenever it gets to the second half. And oh, you know what? Why did I totally forget about this? The question marks here. The question marks aren't valid. They're just not valid. The strings are not being converted over properly to proper ASCII characters. So for some reason they are being tossed in as question marks into this editor. But I think what I can do is exit out and then just open up the file. And this is so dumb. If this works, I'm gonna laugh. But basically open it up in another editor and try to copy the code that way. Copy and paste it in. Yeah, you see the question marks just became pure question marks. I'll copy the code in exactly from Chrome. And hopefully VS Code is smart enough to preserve that data. See how it has these boxes? And the boxes are different than all the other boxes, because like this box right here is a copy of that box, but this box is different. Before, those were all question marks and not properly converted. So if I open it back up in high speed Pascal, let me save it and see what happens. Does it convert that? Okay, it preserves it actually. So that's a feasible way of getting the code to stay there. It's just some weird encoding stuff that we'll have to deal with. Okay, cool. So let's compile that and see if the level actually loads properly. No, it didn't. It looks worse actually. It looks worse actually. Man, thought we were getting pretty close to this. Thought we were getting close. It's 9:40, and I was thinking about possibly ending the stream about 10 or 10:30. I have not been getting a lot of good sleep. But this is actually a lot more fun than NS Basic. NS Basic was a whole bunch of problems just thrown on top of each other. I think what I could do is store this data somehow in an RS file. I mean, in the RO binary file, and then reference it. That might be the best way to ensure that the byte data is still there. But let's try to do byte arrays. let's try to get the byte arrays to be proper, and if we can get them to work properly, we don't have to worry about this ASCII stuff anymore. But if you're just joining the stream or you've been watching along, I know that I've constantly had so many people watching. And if this interests you, if you're here for to hang out or chill during the lockdown and stuff, go ahead and look down below. You'll see like my website and my Twitter. If you can just follow me on Twitter, I will let you know next time I stream or if there's a delay or something. My streams are supposed to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Central. And I always post on there before I stream. And youtube.com/crate where you can subscribe, and twitch.tv/thecrate. Also Mixer as well. So if you're on one of those, please consider subscribing or following. And if you're gonna leave, like Dindy is, thanks for checking out the stream, Dindy. Really appreciate you being here, man. All the VODs will be on YouTube, so you can go back and rewatch anything you've missed, or just chill and listen. Or if maybe you are watching this sometime in the future and 10 years down the road or something like that, and you want to go back and see me working with NS Basic, you can go back and do that as well. Okay, so with that being said, let's try to look up byte arrays now and get that to work again. At the beginning of the stream, we tried to get that to work. But it was being pretty stupid, so man, if we could get levels to be a proper byte array, that would be cool. All right. Byte, let's just do HS Pascal array and see if there's anything that pops up for it. We'll go ahead and close out of all these other things. We don't necessarily need those open anymore. And I'll move that over here so it's not as flashy. We'll just go between these two. Okay. To run a file or command. Okay, well, that's not necessarily what we care about or want. Still care. Wait a minute, you know what? I wonder if we could do this. So imagine for a moment a hexadecimal value, like let's do a random one, 0xEF. In Pascal, it would be $EF. But we could also do, of course, something like this, 2A or 2 whatever, and then D7. That also would be valid hexadecimal, but for a larger number. It's obviously bigger than a byte. So I wonder if there's a way we could store a huge amount of data that way and have, instead of an array of, let's say like this, we just convert everything to this format, and then we could somehow go through it like byte by byte, kind of like just doing bit shifting, or accessing it with the like ANDing of a value or something like that, iterating through and ANDing it. Okay, so HS Pascal for Amiga. Okay, so earlier Raj was asking about some of the Turbo Pascal features, and it looks like it was based off of, or HS Pascal was based off of Turbo Pascal 7.0, but at least that's what this guy says in 2017. So it's possible that it's based off of it. It's like some random branch or whatever, and that's why it doesn't include some of the features of Turbo Pascal, like being able to instantiate an array with values, initial values. Oh, what is this? Oh, just a wiki for Palm stuff. Yeah, super unhelpful. Of bytes. Wow, so even these people using high-speed Pascal are able to set constant data using the method that we want to use. We tried this at the very beginning. It looks like it's in constant. I don't see why this wouldn't be a feature available. Like, why would you only ever allow people to use variables and in RAM instead of being able to set it somewhere in ROM? Let's try doing something like this. Let's try making a constant value of something else that should work. Hello. Why is this not working? It's not because of the spacing. Definitely not because of the spacing, is it? No. Maybe there's some other format. Let's look for more Pascal examples. Oh shoot. NicoCat. The website that had NicoCat had more source code. Totally forgot to look for more stuff there. So let's do that real quick. And if we can find an array and properly put at least one level in as a byte array, and it maps it out, at least blocks it out, then that is enough proof of concept to be able to move on to the next section for sure. Oh man. By the way, I really find these old websites kind of charming with how ugly they are. Everything has a gradient, random, a site traffic counter. Oh my gosh. Okay. Pocket Studio change. A lot of this is in French, which makes it a little hard to read. So this is where I found the matches game. Articles Peak Pocket. Program conversion from Hot Paw. I don't know what this one is. Let's open it. Oh, this is not what I thought it would be. This is searching the entire website. Very weird bug in sine and cosine. Interesting. What is the... Wait, yeah, why is it searching French again? I said English, right? Oh, I see. I turned it to French by my mistake. Creating resource file, a new ownership for Pocket Studio. Cells, system info. Might help. Okay, let's try this. Is this French again? Oh, it's because... Okay. Dang it. So this person doesn't look like it has a code. Source code. I wonder if it includes the source code. No, I didn't think so. This is a game that could. HS Pascal source code. Let's take a look. Okay, this looks like it might be promising. Right. It still doesn't. Whoever made this game didn't use any constant arrays, which makes sense because the game of life really doesn't look like it would. See, every night the train drives right by. Chugs right by. Hey, look at that. To program is to copy in order to learn better. Ain't that the truth? That's why I love looking at source code, just to see what they do. I mean, as we saw with NS Basic, looking up the actual documentation instead of people's source code that was working just isn't going to cut it, because a lot of the source code is, I mean, a lot of the documentation is just outdated or wrong. So it looks like maybe the downloads are very limited. Let's see. No, I was just trying another program. Okay. Try one more search. I still can't believe we can't do something like this, so an array with initialized values. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's because the limitation and the size for the PRC file that can be compiled. I mean, the guy who made HS Pascal, high-speed Pascal, he himself has some source code. Let's go take a look at a few of those examples. I don't think they're particularly helpful, but yeah, see no mention of an array here. He does have some structs. Let's see. Examples here. So this is another thing. He had a doodle, but again, no arrays, no main, like no big set of data. I wonder what this is. I don't know anything about Atari programming at all. It kind of doesn't interest me. I really only like to do handheld programming. So like Palm Pilot, PlayStation Vita, stuff like that. So what we did earlier today was copy the data over into, was it this file? No. Into the res file. But res wasn't being loaded properly. I think possibly we could do something like this. Just to test to see if the res file, res.pass, is being respected. And now let's do like, this will actually be helpful. This will be map width. And you know what? If this works, we could just take all the code from this program, like everything out except for this main function right here, this main loop, and then be able to code exclusively in VS Code, and then just jump in here to compile. And that would help out a lot. Actually, I wonder if it would show me the errors properly or not. Okay. Let's say right here. It's a good place to put map. What? Compile. So map width is not found. And I think it's because this is not being found, maybe? Let's try swapping the order of this and see if that has an effect. So not found. See what we need to do in order to use this feature. This is similar to C++ or C, where you say include like test res.pos, but it is flavored for Pascal. Which I saw over here, and we pulled up earlier, but isn't super helpful. I mean, this says what you put in your normal. Actually, I wonder if I need to put all of the files in here. In order for it to work. Nope. Let's look up HS Pascal include. Runtime library included, disassembler included. This is IDE with context-sensitive help on Palm API functions, but that I haven't seen any kind of IntelliSense or any helpful stuff, which I think is this help section. Like if I click on one of these, it's going to ask me to open a PDF to basically import it. But those PDFs are far gone. Clicking help seems to do nothing also. So, man. Map file output, source file versus binary symbol table, disassembler. Runtime library included. man. Hmm. They said that Delphi was used a little bit for Pascal. So maybe, I've never used Delphi before. If it's close enough, maybe we can use some information from there. So back here. Oh, you know what? This guy says HS Pascal started in 1990 with the high-speed Pascal for Atari and Amiga. So HS Pascal has many built-in extensions known from Turbo Pascal. So obviously it doesn't know all of them. Oh, Raj, what's up, man? You're back. Looks like you came back a few minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. So yeah, we're looking at the HS Pascal stuff. So it looks like it uses some Turbo Pascal stuff, but maybe not necessarily all of the features you'll find from that. So we're at the point where, just to review, where we're kind of drawing maps. At one point, it was looking really close to an actual level from Circuit Dude, but using this 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 string basically produced. Let's see. This is what the first level should look like. This, and the string that we got earlier. See if I can. Oh my gosh, I think I may have lost it. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll show you where we're at with this level real quick. Oh, man, it's so hard. I've had a headache, a bad headache. So if you see me jump around a little bit, it's because my head is a little jumbled. So this is very similar to an actual level. You see how it has like the four dots up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the issue is actually that the second half is kind of distorted, and it's because whenever I paste in the ASCII version of this, or the string version of this level, a lot of the characters get replaced with question marks. So it's kind of throwing off the second half of this level down here at the bottom, kind of inverting some of it and messing it up a little bit. So our problem then is that we want to solve that is by basically moving the data somewhere else. And we had all those. Basically, it was the level was stored in a variable. I'm still not set on that. I want to try a byte array of some kind, or storing it in some read-only data. Raj, you're saying that can you try popping unit test res at the top of the test res pass file, and then in the main Pascal file say uses test res. Oh, that is actually. I was trying to remember what exactly that was going to look like. I'd seen some kind of convention like that earlier, but I wasn't exactly sure. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Let's try to get rid of this real quick. These defines. Oh, actually, I take that back. So it does know that this file exists as it does. Yeah, I converted the bytes to characters earlier and stuck it into a string. Yeah. Okay, so it's saying program expected down here. It might be a little bit fuzzy from the compression, but program expected. Let's see. Unit test res at the top of test res. Uses test res. Oh, wait a minute. I'm so stupid. Look at this. I also have. Let's. Totally forgot that I'm already doing something like that. Put it back in there. Interface expected. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Excellent, excellent. And NicoCat has a NicoCat res, I think. Yeah, let's see what NicoCat does. Interface implementation. Okay. I think it'll look like that. Yeah. Okay, so I should be able to use map width now instead of 14. So let's try compiling that. And it looked like it worked. So that was just a quick little dumb test. And it looks identical still. Okay. So we did get the res file working. Thanks for the suggestion, Raj. I really appreciate that. So now we got to figure out how we can leverage this into our other stuff. And before I forget, I just want to toss this this data over into this RCP. Just gonna do that for my own sake for later for the BMP stuff if we ever get to that. I guess this res.pos file with the maybe. I mean, NicoCat doesn't use it, neither does matches or the other source code that I was looking for. So possibly this feature might not exist within high-speed Pascal at all. So I guess I'll just remove it. And $R. Okay, so $R is used, but it's actually after the uses. So maybe one of these uses UI resources, maybe. Let's see if that does anything. Oops. I always try moving the file over whenever. Still. Well, you know what? Look at that though. There's no stuttering. The level seems to be really, really consistently drawn. I'm super impressed by that, actually. Super impressed by that. I'm gonna just comment this RO stuff out for now, so I don't get tempted to use it. And for users, I'm gonna put my custom resource at the top. So I remember about it. Don't get it mixed up with stuff. Okay, so we're back here where we want to use the byte array. Perhaps we can define the byte array here some way. I know that the res using this constant stuff basically is the same thing as doing like define whatever and then a number. So it probably won't be a good place for it unless we can, I don't know, unless we can define somehow a byte array with a preprocessor directive, which I don't think is possible. We'll probably go for another 10 minutes here, but this is actually a lot more fun than NS Basic. I just wish I had a little bit more familiarity with it. I mean, it looks like we're having the same issues though with NS Basic, where documentation is super scarce, and it's a weird flavor of a popular programming language. So when you find very useful stuff, you might think like, oh, you know, this is helpful, but it turns out that it's helpful and it's right, but not right for the flavor I'm using. I guess, Raj, one thing we were talking about earlier is possibly, actually, I see that the person who made NicoCat, Laurent, I believe, yeah, Laurent Duveau, did something like this. They basically took 4 characters in hexadecimal and stuck it all together in a constant. And I only see that referenced here, and yeah. I mean, in C++, what would happen is whenever it's being compiled, it would be replaced with, you know, the LD and E, the value, and then this will be compiled after the preprocessor stuff ran. And so, if in theory, if I have some sort of preprocessor array, it would be kind of duplicated all over the place, and that would be very messy. Oh, extended characters. Yeah, I didn't know the name. Is that what they're called? Yeah. Yeah, extended characters. Let's see if we can look up extended characters Pascal. Save the file as UTF-8. Yeah, I didn't think there was going to be anything like this. I keep going back to byte arrays. I really want to do some array stuff in HS Pascal. Oh my gosh. The guy who made HS Pascal, Christian Phil, he's commenting on this forum. That's the reason why it popped up in this search. Funny. So looking at the RCP stuff, this is kind of supposedly it's stuff that you can grab from within the Pascal program and reference it. For instance, if I have this bitmap family and I set it to test icon, basically I could have these icons stored within a single bitmap family, and I can call the bitmap family to be drawn, and if I try to draw it with Pascal, it will somehow know which a bitmap from that family to draw based on the coloring settings in the Palm Pilot operating system. So a colored one for a colored version, black and white version for black and white version, or a grayscale or whatever. So, I mean, ultimately, we would want to be able to use this to draw bitmaps, but I don't know what else we could do to store other kinds of read-only memory. This RCP basically gets converted with the source files into the RO file, and then the RO file can be read. But then again, the RO file is not being read up here. I've commented out because it wasn't working. But NicoCat seems to be able to use it for some reason. So there's something I'm definitely missing. Raj, whenever you sent me something, I didn't see it, and you kind of link because of I think YouTube may have filtered it out. But I'm also using another application to kind of read through all the chats at one time from different sources. So that may have filtered it out too. So if you want to send me it, try sending me something on Twitter through a private message, and I'll just pull it up real quick on the chat or on the stream. Yeah, man. If you pull up HP Pascal, you know you will want to HS Pascal. You're gonna want to go to this website, hspascal.fihl.net. And when you're here, he actually has a demo where you can get your own copy. But he basically says that he's just giving out the free version because it's so old, which is great. Christian, if you're watching this, awesome. I like that. But if you want to get it, you have to read this email file and then download it, which is EML. I don't know what an EML is, and then kind of open it in an editor. You'll see this link right here for installation, and then you'll also see like this user and password. So once you install that, you should be able to just open up the application and start modifying source and just click compile. It's super easy after you install it. You don't even need the Palm Pilot emulator, but you should be able to see all the weird stuff. Like it shouldn't compile if you try to instantiate default values in the array. So if that's what you want to, if anybody's watching and they want to get into Palm Pilot stuff and want to try it out, or learn with me, then that's how you would do that. Okay, let's see. So let's take a look one more time at this NicoCat stuff. You know what? Actually, I haven't thought about this. So Bitmap Wake Up is referenced in the art in the let's see right here, NicoCat res. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I think I know why. I think I know how to access testres.ro stuff. Yeah, I think this is what I want to do. Oh wait, no, actually I lied. Because the BMP, I mean the icons for the application aren't even working on it. Gotta figure that out still. I'll generate one more time and then compile. See what happens. Oh. Doesn't seem like it's done anything. Yeah, still has the old icon. I love these little tiny icons though, it's kind of cool. Okay, I think we're getting closer to the end of the stream right now. It's currently 10 o'clock, 10:30 I mean to say, my time, Texas time. But I do want to take another look at the source code for NicoCat. Just one more time, see if we find any hints as to how to load some binary data somewhere. I mean, it looks like they're doing the thing with this array right here, where they manually set a value for it. Actually, I could definitely do this. Look at every time they use an array. Hey Raj, if you actually get HS Pascal running, let me know on Twitter or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and for the final thing tonight, instead of using this right here, let's see if we can. Let's see if we can just do this. Will this compile or will this be upset? What? Oh. Yeah, okay. That didn't work. Of oh, 0, 70. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is what I want to do for the last thing tonight. Let's take this levels array and instantiate some data. And let's get the level data from CircuitDo one more time. And just toss this in. It's going to be ugly, it's going to be big, but this is how Matches does it. So, uh-oh. And this should guarantee that the levels are printed correctly, which is the big issue, the big thing that we're worried about. We want at least a silhouette to be created. Oh, shoot. Oh, this is so freaking ugly. And I'm gonna have to do this for like 70 levels, this huge block of stuff. Um, 1 to 100 numbers. Copy, paste. Go all the way to 70. Well, 69. I actually forgot that I reset the index to 0. And the first index to 0. So let me go back and let me go back and do that. Let me add a 0 here as well. I'm gonna have to go through and change this a little bit more, so bear with me. Okay. There we go. Converted it over, and I did that earlier. I don't know why I erased it, but let's toss that in here in the initialize, right? What is going on? Oh, that's so ugly. It's actually kind of slowing the program down a little bit. Ooh. I forgot to do this as well. Okay. So it greatly increased the size of the program, but run it anyways. Boom. There we go. Okay, so he sent it to me on Twitter. So right now you can see the silhouette of the level, I guess you could call it, where it's just black dots representing everything in the level. Pretty much one-to-one. So gonna have to play with that a little bit more to figure it out. But yeah, Raj, you sent me something on Twitter. I'll take a look at that real quick. So Raj, what is this? It's a project you worked on for a game? CGA game, okay. Yeah, man, this is a cool DOS game that you written up. I have HP Jornada, I mean to say. 720. I love this thing. I want to make a game for it so bad. I would love to put Circuit Dude on it. If I could get Pascal running on it, Turbo Pascal. Let's see if that's possible to run. Easiest thing in the world, this person says. So if I can get Circuit Dude ported to Palm Pilot with Pascal, putting it on Palm would be way easy, like super easy. So would love to get it to run on there as well. For sure, for sure. Yeah, so you're using Turbo Pascal, which has like these features where you can literally take the data and just plug it in as data. You don't need to worry about instantiating it after the fact like a variable. I like that. But cool. All right, well, that's what I said I wanted to do for the night was get some sort of silhouette of the program. I'll try to look into more of the RO stuff, and if I can, get BMPs drawn. It would be great to just straight up draw Circuit Dude with a bitmap file. I could take all the files, plug them in, and then open up stuff in Microsoft Paint or something like that, and just modify the images there to add color, so they don't look as ugly as they do on the BitBoy version of Circuit Dude, which is a little ugly. Admittedly, though, the Game Boy palette version looks really cool. So, okay, well, again, my website is right here. So, if you want to look at some more of my games and stuff, my website is crate.net. You can go on there anytime and take a look at the stuff we're looking at today. And follow me on Twitter if you don't mind. It would be great for me to get a little bit of a following of people who are interested in this kind of stuff. YouTube as well, Twitter, Twitch, Mixer, all that stuff. I'm going to be streaming again on today's Thursday, so Sunday. It's coming Sunday. again on Tuesday, and again on Thursday, all at 7:30 p.m. I'm going to be streaming from my friend's house probably because I'm having some construction done in my apartment complex and I'm working on moving to a different unit. But yeah, if if you're interested in keeping up with me, come back then, follow, get engaged a little bit. I know a lot of people are kind of quiet because maybe they don't have a lot of familiarity with Pascal or Palm Pilot or something, and they're just kind of chilling and having this music, this playing in the background or something. But the engagement really encourages me to keep going, as well as lets me know what sites people are watching me on. So, and like I said earlier, youtube.com/crate is where the videos on demand will be. So this whole thing will be archived there for if you missed the first half of this or whatever. So on the next stream, I think we're going to, between now and then, I think I'm going to try to get the bitmaps working, maybe drawing some bitmaps, or maybe I'll focus on getting the byte arrays so I can just get all the levels in. And I don't want to go through the process of just Googling stuff, with you guys. I find that a little boring. It's fun for a little while, but there's other more fun stuff we can get to in the next stream. So Thursday, if you're interested, would love for you to show up. No, Sunday. What am I thinking? Yeah, Sunday. If you're interested, show up. And I guess until then, I'll see you guys. Bye, Sherwin. Bye, Raj. Bye, guys.